there is a proverb that is called eating the frog. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to tell you. Have you ever tried to eat a frog as it's hopping around, ribbiting? Hopefully not. But I did when I was a kid because there was a creek at the back of our house. And so we went and would catch frogs. And naturally, one day my cousin said, "Hey, your mouth, frog. You should try eating it." And me, being a kid, was like, "Okay, I guess they say so." So I did. I put it in my mouth and it started to move. And I was so grossed out that I spat it out and ran home and then washed out my mouth for like 15 minutes because it was disgusting. Frogs, turns out, don't taste good when they're alive or dead. Don't eat them. They're gross. Maybe some cultures do. I don't judge. You do you. Point is, I don't like it. Now, what does eating a frog have to do with business or life? A frog is something in your life that is really unpleasant to do. Because eating a frog, unpleasant. Don't want to do it. In our lives, we have things that are eating a frog. It could be doing something with your health. It could be a business project that's scary and spooky, and you just have been putting it off and off and off for days because you don't want to do it. Or it could be a hard conversation with a partner or a family member or somebody in your company, whoever it may be. Why is eating a frog important? Oftentimes, difficult conversations are scary because they're not yet done. What I mean by that is difficult conversations are scary because we don't know what's going to happen. It's unknown. But once we get it done, we feel so much better and so much relief rather than stressing about it for hours and hours and hours. So, there was a project that I had that was a big frog, and it was getting a whole bunch of boring financial documents. And in my head, I'm thinking, this is boring. I am over marketing. This is going to take me 2 days because it was a lot of documents to gather all these boring financial numbers, and I'm going to have to put aside my job and managing to just get this done, and I don't want to do it. And I subconsciously made the choice to keep pushing it off and off and off. Not saying I'm not going to do it, but just that I want to push it down the road further and further and not do it. And that led to me all of a sudden getting to crunch time when we need these numbers by the end of the week and it's a Thursday. So now I didn't eat the frog and I'm forced to eat it because I have no other option. I have to spend 2 days to get all these documents and just get it done. Ugh. This led me to scrambling, but then, yes, getting it done. And guess what? I finished, and it didn't take the 16 hours I thought it would. It took like 8. It was very, very busy, and it was not fun. I don't like just sitting there gathering documents for hours, but I know it's important, and I ate the frog. And that made me imagine just how relaxing it would have been if I just got this done 2.5 weeks ago when it first came on my plate, and I did it in 4 hours one day and 4 hours the next, and maybe another few hours to finalize it on day three, and then it was done. It was behind me. It was over. But I didn't do it. And that let it to linger at me. And I would go to bed at night thinking, oh, I have to do this, and when am I going to have time? And I'd push it off and off and off. And I ended up never doing the thing until it was biting me on my cheeks. And that really reduced my productivity for the whole time leading up to it. So, how do I eat the frogs now? Well, here's my litmus test. When there is a project or thing on my mind, or a hard conversation with a friend that I have been putting off that's bothering me constantly, I need to recognize, first off, that it is taking up so much more time and attention in your brain than you think. Because that roommate who did this thing that's been really bothering you, and you need to address it, but it's been 2 weeks now, and every time you're like, and then you do that, and then you sit there in your room like, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I need to, and it keeps you up at night and you're losing sleep over it. But then you have the conversation, and in 15 minutes, it's over and it's resolved, and you feel so much better. But you stressed about it for hours and hours before you got to the point of actually just doing it. So, how do I eat the frog now? My productive time is in the mornings. Maybe you're a night owl, and it works really well for you to have the project and just kick its butt at night. And if that's the case, fantastic. You should do that. For me, when I wake up, my mind is clear. I'm ready to go. I want to prioritize and just run for the first couple hours, just get a lot of things done. And I have started to specifically build my schedule to eat the frog. And I do that by getting out a planner and saying the projects I have to do and picking the top three. Where if I say, if I do nothing else today but just these three things, then I will be successful. And one of those things is a frog that I don't want to eat, but I know I need to just get done. And right at the beginning of the day, if it's this hard email or this project or this financial plan I need to build that I've been putting off, I just eat the frog and get it done because it always feels better to get it behind you than to have it linger in your head constantly. So if there's something in your life, a frog, a conversation with somebody that you have been putting off, or with your boss, or a project you need to get done at work, or maybe it's at your house, you need to fix this garage door and you're putting it off and off and off, and then you finally do it and it takes 60 minutes, and all that stress you've had from somebody nagging you and having to manually walk into the house and open up the garage door just because you didn't fix it, eat the frog, get it done, and move on with your life, and you will be happier because that is how it has always been for me.